Welcome, Fright Night Vault listeners, wherever you're hiding tonight. Some places were never meant to be found, not because they're forgotten, but because something buried them for a reason. The story you're about to hear doesn't take place in a haunted house or a cursed asylum. No, it begins beneath something far more ordinary, a family farm passed down for generations. But under that farmhouse, behind a rusted iron door at the bottom of a crooked staircase, there's a root cellar. One no one's opened in 40 years. Until now. Before we unlock what's beneath, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from tonight. Small town, big city, out in the woods. It's always eerie to see how far the vault stretches, and if you haven't already, give the channel a like and subscribe. Every bit of support helps us keep the lights low and the stories coming. Now, let's talk about what's underneath. You see, when the man in tonight's tale inherited his grandfather's farm, he didn't think much about the padlocked cellar door behind the house. Just an old food storage space from back in the day. But animals wouldn't go near it. The air above it always felt too still. And the key? It wasn't just hidden. It was buried in a metal box, 6 feet deep, wrapped in cloth soaked with something foul. Still, he opened it. He thought he heard voices down there. And then something answered back. Some doors don't lead to rooms. Some lead down into something older, something that doesn't rot, doesn't sleep, and doesn't forget. So turn the lights low. Keep something warm wrapped around you, and if you hear a knock coming from beneath your floorboards tonight, don't answer it. Tonight's story, The Root Cellar Whispers, starts now. I inherited the farm after my grandfather died. Just a modest stretch of land in the hills of eastern Kentucky. It had been in our family for generations, though no one had lived there full-time since the 80s. The house was old but solid. A creaky farmhouse with weathered walls and the kind of silence that feels old. I figured I'd fix it up, maybe flip it. But it didn't take long for the place to get under my skin. Mostly it was the root cellar. It sat about 20 feet behind the house, partially sunken into a hill, its entrance framed in crumbling stone, with a thick, rusted metal door sealed shut with a padlock. I hadn't thought much about it until the third night. That's when I found the key. It wasn't on a hook or in a drawer, it was buried. I was digging a fire pit near the edge of the property when the shovel hit metal. A box, 6 inches deep. Inside was a small iron key wrapped in moldy cloth soaked with something dark. And the smell, like spoiled meat and rusted coins, nearly made me gag. I should have thrown it out. Instead, I walked straight to the cellar. The padlock opened with a single click. The hinges moaned as the door creaked inward, revealing a steep set of stairs vanishing into blackness. I don't know what I expected, maybe old shelves or empty jars. What I got was cold. Not just basement cold, something deeper, ancient. The air down there felt wet like it had teeth. I took 2 steps in, that's all. And then I heard it. A whisper, not words, just the shape of them, curling through the dark, right beside my ear. I slammed the door shut and locked it. But that night, I heard something move beneath the floorboards of my bedroom, scraping, slow, deliberate. The next day, I drove into town and asked an old local about the place. When I mentioned the root cellar, his face turned to stone. "You opened it?" he asked. I nodded. He just shook his head. "They sealed that thing shut back in '82, after the last one didn't come back up." I pressed him, but he wouldn't say more, just muttered about things that remember and told me to get out while I still could. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of the noise, because of the voice. At 2:13 a.m., I woke to a whisper coming from under the bed. This time it said something clear. "You're his blood. That means you're mine." I left the lights on until morning, but when I went to the window, I saw muddy footprints, bare, human, leading from the cellar to the back door. I packed a bag. I told myself I'd leave that afternoon, but I couldn't. The whispers, they were in my head now, every room, every quiet moment. By sunset, I was standing at the cellar again. I opened the door. I went down. I don't remember choosing to. My feet just moved. There were no shelves, no jars, just dirt walls, and in the center, a hole, shallow, fresh. Beside it, something was waiting. A figure, tall, gaunt, pale like fungus, with long arms and no mouth. But I heard it whispering. Inside my skull, it said my grandfather promised someone would come. It said the door was a gift. It said the key wasn't buried to protect us, but to keep it from starving. The figure pointed to the hole. There was something already inside. It was me, dead eyes, mouth open in a silent scream, wearing my clothes. I ran and didn't stop until my car hit pavement. But I can still hear it. When everything goes quiet, I hear the cellar door creak open, and at night, the floorboards breathe. If you enjoy these types of horror audio stories, just add a like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep them crawling. And if something whispers to you from below, don't listen, don't answer, don't look. See you on the next one. If the door stays shut, if you made it this far, you're one of us. Subscribe so you don't miss what crawls out next.